Gregory's constructivist theory of perception.
Perception is the process by which our brain interprets and makes sense of the sensory information that we receive from our environment. This process is not simply a matter of taking in raw sensory data and processing it in a straightforward manner. Perception involves making inferences from visual cues and past experience to construct a model of reality. This theory contrasts with Gibson's idea that perception is innate. Visual cues are the information that our brain receives from the environment through our senses, such as light, colour, shape, and motion. However, visual clues alone do not provide enough information to fully perceive and understand the world around us. For example, when we see a tree, we do not just see a collection of colours and shapes. We also infer that the tree has a certain size, texture, and distance from us.
Our brain uses past experience and knowledge to make these inferences and fill in the gaps in the sensory information. For example, we learn from experience that objects that are farther away appear smaller, so that when we see a person in the distance, we infer that they are smaller than they would appear if they were closer to us. Similarly, we use our knowledge of object properties and relationships to make inferences about the objects we see, such as the fact that a chair is meant for sitting and a car is meant for transportation. These inferences are not always accurate and can be influenced by a variety of factors, including context, expectations, and biases. However, they are an important part of perception because they allow us to construct a coherent and meaningful model of the world around us, even when the sensory information we receive is incomplete or ambiguous. This theory is supported by research in different cultures. One strength of this theory is that it's supported by studies that show people perceive things differently depending on their culture. For example, Hudson found that children who weren't used to looking at picture books interpreted 2D images differently to children who were used to regularly looking at picture books. A weakness, however, is that despite Gregory's theory being supported by understanding of visual illusions, they are still unusual examples of perception.
By looking at visual illusions, they are designed to fool us, so they don't really offer a full explanation of how visual illusions work in the real world. It also doesn't offer a full explanation of how visual illusions begin in the first place. There is a lot of research that suggests babies have an innate ability to recognize faces and depth perception. Therefore, this cannot be built up over time.